Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. What's up, guys?
What's up?
Colin the cat daddy.
He just hopped up right when you hit the start button. He knows what time it is.
Well, Tony's part of the broadcast today.
Yeah,
We'll have to get his opinions on calories in and calories out.
he's the biggest of my cats, so he knows a thing or two about bulking.
How many cats you have, Colin?
6.
Whoa.
And one 100-pound dog. So it's a full house.
That's more than vigorous Steve.
I don't got no kids though, you know. It's like,
yeah.
This is what I spend my time doing when I'm not lifting with Paul or working my job. I just hang out with my wife and my pets.
That's awesome.
I got 2 dogs, 2 kids, and the dogs are more of a pain in the ass than the kids are. Although I think I'm past the Chase is still in the changing diapers and not sleeping phase. My kids barely know I'm alive now. Teenagers.
They remember you're alive when it's time for you to get them some McDonald's, right?
Food or money.
Buy them a video game.
Food or money. Those are the 2 times they know I'm here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on this week. It seems like every time I post something, I piss a group of weirdos off. This week it was the anti-calories in, calories out people.
Yeah.
I had so many of them messaging me, man. It's like they get so offended, like calories in, calories out doesn't work.
From our video?
No, I haven't even posted that video yet, Kurt. They're gonna be really pissed off when I post that. I just put a post up on Instagram the other day, some fat loss truths, and like basically just saying you got to be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. It doesn't work any other way. Go ahead, Colton.
There's just one of the things that really pisses me off is there's a lot of coaches who sell the epiphany of like not restricting calories to get competition lean, and like one of the things I see so often is like functional coaches saying like, 1,200 calories for a female competitor is absurd. And it's like that sometimes needs to happen for a lot of female competitors.
Like, it needs to happen for a man.
Yeah, I've been there, right? And it's like
watch Chris Bumstead for the last Olympia. He was at 1,200 calories.
Samson Dauda had 3 eggs for breakfast for his Arnold prep, like for the whole fucking prep, And it's just like these people are so absurd to think like, and it's just they're selling their ideals, right? It's like, oh, I can make sure you get lean without having to cut calories. It's like that's not real, it sucks. And then they create these sort of acolytes that just follow them around and say like, oh, this is what this guy can do. And it's like, all right.
I laughed, like one dude kept tagging other people in my post about the calories in, calories out stuff, and I'm like he's telling on me, like he's going to the principal and saying, look what this guy's saying. I'm like, go tell mom that I said something you don't like. That's
I'm telling.
It's hilarious. But I just ask people, I'm like, please, like I just challenged one guy. He's like, everything you put in this post is false. And I'm like, okay, then please explain to me what's false in this post. I would like to know. And he goes, it's not my job to tell you why your post is false.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, okay, then you're just basically talking out of your ass, bro. So yeah, it was hilarious. It just like people, the mental gymnastics that people will go to sometimes. It's just to and it's the funny thing is like all these people, none of them are in shape.
No, never.
If they even have a profile picture up at all.
Yeah.
It's usually a hidden profile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's usually, well, at least some. This is what I said. Some keto isn't superior for fat loss. Insulin isn't the reason you're fat. Carbs don't make you fat. Fasted cardio isn't superior to fat cardio. Although there's some debate about that. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's not energy balance. Kirk can explain that one. Intermittent fasting isn't magic. Weight loss doesn't equal fat loss, and you have to be in a calorie deficit to burn fat, and that really upset a lot of people.
It's funny because people think that like the whole insulin thing is just so radical, and it's just, you can read so many books where people postulate how insulin is completely inhibitory to fat loss, and it's like you realize you like dumb motherfuckers realize that like obese people can lose an obscene amount of fat, and their fast insulin levels are greater than dudes on exogenous insulin. Like, you know, it's just, it's so ridiculous.
Well, because 20 years ago and before, they used to think that catecholamines and insulin were, you know, counterintuitive. The problem is we've just proven that it's, you know, it's not strong enough to outdo fat loss. The body's it has to lose weight in a deficit. How could it not? It's physics. You can't work around it. What's it not going to lose fat? What is it going to lose then?
Like,
it's going to lose muscle, but the insulin high, that makes even less sense. Like, why do you lose muscle?
If we were just to like parse that experiment out and do, you know, a huge bolus of Lantus and have someone fast, are they for multiple days? Like, are they just going to lose absolutely zero body mass?
I mean, I ran insulin through my entire contest prep.
as have I. It's been complete. Like, I've never had the idea of fat being inhibited or fat loss being inhibited due to using insulin.
I said that to some dude. I'm like, bro, I ran insulin through my entire contest prep, and I was 5% body fat on stage. He's like, well, you're taking steroids. It doesn't count.
Steroids outdo physics too. I think, Paul, at least in my experience, I think the guys that want to argue the calories in, calories out are the ones that don't actually count things. Like, I've worked with people that just want to guess. They're like, well, that's about 700 calories. But it's not working because I'm not losing weight. And when they actually count, the weight loss actually goes down. They just want an excuse why their half-ass method doesn't work.
Well, we talked about this before. The amount of people that can't do basic math is just unfucking believable to me. It's the whole thing. Like, people will tell me like thermodynamics doesn't apply to the human body, and I'm like, oh, so it applies to everything else in the universe but the human body. It hasn't been disproven yet. That's not to say that it couldn't be, but you know, if you could violate the laws of thermodynamics, you would create limitless energy and solve the energy crisis. It's so fucking crazy. And then that, like, there's some, I forget the name of the crazy doctor out there that was saying that it's because I wish Justin was on here because he's a physicist, but it's because the human body is a open thermodynamic system that somehow that invalidates physics. I'm like, dude, literally the only difference, like, I said, please explain the difference between a closed and open thermodynamic system. And the guy's like just fumbling for words, like he had no idea what the difference was between the two. And I'm like if you can't explain the difference between the two, you are not qualified to say that one works and the other doesn't. I'm like, it's real simple. It's a pot of boiling water on your stove, and the closed system has the lid on it, and the open system has the lid off. It doesn't change the amount of energy that it takes to boil the pot of water. The math is still predictable.
Right.
Otherwise, planes wouldn't fly, cars wouldn't run. Nothing we do would work.
It's kind of sad because it's just, it is such a fundamental point of our reality. I think a lot of people look at, like, for myself, at least, I stay really lean. Like, even if Kurt's the same way. You stay lean when you eat a copious amount of food that would make other people literally obese. And it's just, like, by nature, that variability in our milieu is different than other people's. And so some people would lead to say, like, oh, calories in, calories out doesn't count. Like, obviously this individual is different, but like, there's so many differences with like mitochondrial efficiencies. There's inputs that alter that equation, but the equation still stays the same.
It's you know, I look, like, these guys will do these keto and carnivore diets and they think there's some magic because they've lost weight. It's real simple for me. The reason why those diets work is because you're too stupid to calculate a calorie deficit, but if you stop eating carbs, you're not eating French fries, you're not eating potato chips, you're not eating ice cream, you're not eating hamburgers, you're basically all the processed junk. You're not eating muffins, you're not eating cookies. You just removed all that crap from your diet. You're likely in a caloric deficit, and then you just lost weight from being in a caloric deficit. It's not to say that it's a simple, foolproof way for people who don't want to count calories to lose weight. It's probably healthier than being obese, right?
Yeah, anything's
Well,
better than being obese.
See how the whole Jenny Craig kind of diet model works too. You have a point system, so they're counting calories without counting calories directly, and that's what people are doing when they follow these fad diets. Like you said, you exclude a specific macronutrient or a specific food group, it immediately reduces your choices for food. It's like if your diet consisted of potato chips, chocolate, all these like high carb foods prior to starting a low or no carb diet, of course you're going to lose weight. Like you literally cut out like 1/3 or 1/2 of the food you're eating.
Joshua says, just tell everyone to equate these nuts in their mouth and move on. I think Joshua and I would be good friends. Yeah, it blows me away. Oh, did you guys see that PJ Braun is out of prison now?
No.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah, he just got out this week. 2.5 years of a 4.5-year sentence.
Wow. That's
I
crazy.
saw that. That was for
That was the Blackstone lab thing.
Blackstone. Yeah. I saw that.
What's he doing now?
I don't know. I mean, I guess Blackstone's still up and running.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I find that strange.
Well, they must have had a lot of money put away.
Yeah.
What were they doing? Putting steroids in their supplements? I don't know the whole
Okay,
deal
so
behind.
the way it worked was in 2014, I think it's called the DACA Act was passed in November, and they banned all prohormones. And I think at that time, they kept putting the prohormones in the products because they were a brand new company at that time. And so they didn't observe the rules because a lot of the prohormones were not prohormones. They were just designer steroids that had never actually been registered, so they never got banned in the first place. Like DMZ would be an example of this. So that's when SARMs became popular because now you couldn't buy these designer steroids called prohormones. So the new version of designer steroids were supposed to be called SARMs, but they're not actually any good. Did you have something to say, Ryan? I think I kept cutting you off by accident.
No, that's okay. I was going to say DHB was considered a prohormone or one testosterone, right?
That's an awesome prohormone.
Well, yeah,
Isn't
it's
trembolone
completely an
safe for
anabolic
prohormone?
compound, but it was labeled a prohormone, and they sold it and you could buy it in supplement stores for a while.
Yeah. Super Droll too.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah,
draw.
that's what
So
put
those are the
LG on the. That's what put LG on the market was methyl 1 test, and it got banned in 2004.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That was DHB, right? Methyl 1 test.
There's additional methyl group, I think, like carbon 11 on DHB that's different from methyl 1 test, but other than that, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The amount of powerlifters I know who abuse the fuck out of methyl test and methyl trend, God.
Oh,
So many.
Oh, they love it.
Oh, they do, yeah.
You just need some Anadrol or Halo test, and that works plenty fine for
I reckon,
powerlifters.
yeah, Anadrol is fantastic for powerlifters. I reckon it's amazing. Pre-workout.
I know a guy who set a world record in powerlifting, just running 50 milligrams of Anadrol and a little bit of test. It wasn't anything crazy.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
most powerlifters I know do that.
Kurt, I'm
Yeah.
seeing some. So the Anadrol, it doesn't actually bind to the nuclear androgen receptor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It only binds to the androgen receptor in the cell membrane.
Like the cell surface one. Yeah. Same as
Okay.
That's
So
what
it
we
doesn't
think
even,
T-Mobile.
it doesn't even follow the classic route
of binding to the androgen receptor in the
No, it has no known binding affinity at all.
So it's only the non-genomic pathway with which it increases strength.
Yeah. That's how we know of. They don't really.
And it binds directly to the estrogen receptor. So
we don't know.
Okay.
It makes, I guess that would explain why the effects of it are so transient, right? Like you get the effect when you're using it. It's not really a sustained effect.
Yeah, when non-genomic, like the cell surface ones, are immediate within seconds of you taking something.
Yeah.
It happens with all drugs, like even testosterone. You inject, there's an immediate response.
And then there's a more downstream long-term effect.
Yeah.
In the genomic,
Dave Tate and I had that conversation. I was saying that I don't understand why powerlifters take Anadrol except for the day of the meet, or maybe a couple days before the meet, so that you get all the added strength benefit to add to your PR or your total without having all the wear and tear on your joints leading up to it. And I'm not sure, but to me, the chemistry would be that 8 hours before the meet is tops what you need to take it. You could take it probably as early as 2 hours before the meet. Like you could probably take Anavar under the tongue 1 hour before the meet and get all the benefits and save your liver in the case of Anadrol, or your kidneys in the case of Anavar, all the wear and tear of the previous 6 to 12 weeks. Kurt, am I wrong on this?
If you're only looking for that response, but if you want tissue growth from it, then no.
But
only looking for that? I mean, I would just use Halo then. Or
generally speaking, powerlifters do not want to add mass because they have to stay under their weight class. It's a strength versus weight ratio that determines if they're best lifter.
I think it can be useful in like the final few weeks of a meet prep. Like I've got a powerlifting background, and I know you do too, Todd. So you'd probably be able to draw on some anecdote. But I always thought the way it would be beneficial is it allows you to drive up neural efficiency in your training sessions in that final kind of period of your meet prep. But obviously the issue with this, of course, like you're getting at, is like the impact it has on connective tissue and fatigue management. If you can manage your fatigue and stay injury free, I think the final few weeks of a meet, it could be warranted. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it'll vary depending on how your approach to training is laid out. Like if you're really kind of redlining your training in terms of like the intensities you're doing all your sessions at, say everything's like north of 90%, everything's kind of like maxed out volume wise for that kind of intensity, I guess I could see how to be real risk for injury. But I don't know, if you program with a bit of leeway, wouldn't it be beneficial in the sense that it allows you to overexert beyond what you're neurally capable of and maybe get some sort of like super compensation effect?
I don't think strength's built that way.
Wouldn't you get continued? Like if you were to use something like that continuously, you're going to get, when your blood level, like if Anadrol is used continuously, you have a constant level of Anadrol in your blood, so you have a constant stimulation of those cell surface receptors, so you're going to have a constant thing, because that would probably cause increased strength over time. And then there's also non-genomic things like intercellular calcium that will build up from those drugs, red blood cell count, right? Like part of the Halos effect is a red blood cell count. It's not, the first dose doesn't necessarily do anything meaningful outside of the neurological part. Using Halo test, and I don't find like I'm super strong taking it once. I'm strong on like day 3, day 4.
Okay, so
maybe.
That's what I mean.
That's just
the whole reason why DHT derivatives are so useful to leverage for strength athletes, because of the neurological advantage that it provides. Like you get that increased neural learning. Mm-hmm. Like I always thought that was the big reason why DHT derivatives were so useful for powerlifters, because they didn't really slap on a lot of like intramuscular fluid or cause too much, I suppose, tissue growth if your training was tailored for strength adaptations. And then on top of that, you get the adrenergic effects of the actual DHT derivative. And then on top of that, I just figured that when it comes to strength or I suppose getting stronger, you have obviously the accrual of tissue, which is going to increase the strength potential, the way I look at it, giving you more contractile tissue as total motor units to recruit to then obviously lift more weight. But you obviously need to program that new tissue as well, which is the kind of neurological component that I always thought of. So it's the way I always kind of viewed strength like development, but it could be wrong. I correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
I think it's sorry. I think it's a really complicated. There's a lot of things going on there. You could use something like cabergoline too if you want a dopamine response will cause you to learn motor unit recruitment too. I think pro football players sometimes use things like caber to like learn a skill. Am I wrong?
No,
I've never heard that one.
I've definitely heard that. Yeah.
I don't know if it's football. I know some pro athletes will use, like when they're not tested for it, they'll use things like that to relearn a motor skill.
Mason liked your interview with Vigorous Steve Ryan.
Thank you, Mason. That was a fun interview. So was Paul's. Those two, it was fun. Like I didn't do a lot of interviews with guys who understood the industry, so it was fun to actually be able to reminisce about what it was like back in the early 2000s or late 90s in the black market.
You mean by understand that I've been doing this shit for way too long?
Yeah, right. But yeah, so like I had never done an interview with people who understood the market back in those days, so it was fun. It's nostalgic.
Oh, some good news for everybody. I wanted to let the audience know that Think Big Bodybuilding is back up.
Yeah,
I had a bunch of people reach out to me asking me about that, but I talked to Scott a little bit last night. He's pretty excited that the channel's back up. He's going to be at the Arnold, so we'll try to catch up with him there.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, Scott's a good dude.
Thanks for tuning in, Shane. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
We're just
thanks.
a bunch of nerds at the end of the day.
And at the beginning of the day.
Did you see Jay Cutler? It's hilarious for his 50th. He said he like a long time ago. There was a video of him, I think one of his training videos, where he said he wouldn't eat KFC because he thought he'd like it too much, and he tried KFC for the first time at 50 years old.
Yeah. And he thought he rated it like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. Made me sad watching it. I was like, why? Why would you waste like any calories on fucking KFC? Like you're in America. Like there's so many places you can get like banging fried chicken. You go to fucking KFC. Ugh.
Yeah.
See, I've always wanted to try Chick-fil-A. Apparently, that's really good.
Oh man, I got one walking distance
Australia.
from my house, Nick. It's like 200 yards from my house. And it is bad news. I need a second job just to pay Chick-fil-A because of my kids and me.
If I ever crash at yours, I'll buy you Chick-fil-A.
You're muted, Colton.
I've never gotten the appeal to Chick-fil-A. It's like it's just literally a chicken patty between two buns. That's like the whole thing.
They step it up a little bit more than like some other fast food places because they brine their chicken. They do something that's a little closer to a southern fried piece of chicken, but at the end of the day it's still just fast food, and it's nothing really to write home about in my opinion, although I will say that it factored heavily into my my post-divorce food therapy. I definitely was getting a lot of milkshakes from Chick-fil-A for a couple months there, eating my feelings. So thank you, Chick-fil-A.
What's this Raising Cane place?
It's another fried chicken place.
Yeah.
It's just fast food. Like if you want good fried chicken, you gotta like do a little research. But
you gotta go to a real place. Yeah,
like a soul food place.
I eat way too much Chick-fil-A. It's like bodybuilding friendly, so like I've got all the macros worked out.
Yeah, they do have that one like grilled.
I know like 2 grilled chicken sandwiches is 55 grams of protein and 75 grams of carbs. It's like and there's hardly any fat in it.
Yeah, I've gotten that a number of times. It's
or I'll get the egg white grills, which is a chicken breast and an egg white on a whole wheat McMuffin for breakfast. I get it without the cheese. I'll get 2 of them. That's another one.
So I just looked up right now, best fried chicken Detroit on Google, and I got Gus's world famous fried chicken. I got Eagle Detroit, which is actually downtown. I got Brooklyn Fish and Chicken.
Fish and shit. That's got to be a good one.
And then Savannah Blue, which looks like it's downtown also. Detroit Best Chicken Wings, which is this is also in Detroit. Crispy Crunch Chicken, which is usually in gas stations, and that's one of my favorite places. Is here they'll have these places like You Buy We Fry. because you can use your bridge card, your food stamps, to buy groceries, but you can't buy fast food. So what you do is you buy it at the grocery store, which is actually a gas station, and then they fry it in front of you. And then that way you can use your bridge card. Yeah, it's like, so at the gas station, you can buy, fresh chicken or fish. I don't know how fresh it is. And they fry it in front of you. There's this one place I found that was under a freeway underpass that it was at 6 Mile, and it was, I think, Telegraph, where it was fucking amazing. There was like a line out the place for people getting this fried chicken and fried fish. And they kept yelling at the employees to put more lemon flavor on it. Like they had to sprinkle, instead of salt shaker, they had a salt shaker of lemon flavor. And it was in a really shitty neighborhood. I just found myself at this gas station. I was like, whatever, I'll try their chicken. And it was so good.
There's an inversely proportional relationship between the niceness of the neighborhood and the quality of the chicken. I remember it was like a newscast one day, and it was like this. They brought some fried chicken in for various newscasters to try. It was like two white dudes and 2 black dudes, and the white guy was eating the fried chicken and making like noises like from like Bill Murray and like What About Bob. He's like, and one of the black newscasters asked him, he's like, does that taste like a neighborhood you've never been to before?
Oh man.
Oh,
poor Amy. She said that when she's doing fasted cardio, and we're talking about fried chicken. It's part of the process, Amy. You got to learn to suffer.
Live vicariously through others.
I've never been to any of these places except for the gas station. Crispy Crunch chicken at the gas station is some good. I usually just go in and get the potato wedges. I don't even have the chicken. Oh, Joe Louis Southern Chicken. That people know that name.
Here was the.
Yeah,
I've never tried Kentucky Fried Chicken, so I don't know what it tastes like. I'll never.
I remember that in the video.
I'll probably never try it because I'm afraid I'll like it. So
it's the first time Kentucky Fried Chicken ever. So 50 years.
Did you guys hear, Jay?
Yeah. What are you supposed to do? These are the tenders, huh? Am I blown away? It's okay. It's not great. 4 out of 10. The iced tea's pretty good though.
That's hilarious.
Who gets an iced tea at KFC? I mean, seriously.
That's wild.
Joshua is asking if we've ever had fried chicken and waffles.
Oh, I'm from the South, bro.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Grew up in Virginia, man.
That's a good mix.
Actually, IHOP has good fried chicken and waffles. I was surprised about that.
You know what's good? Gumbo. Gumbo is awesome.
Yeah, I love gumbo.
I'll cook some gumbo.
My buddy and his wife, she's from Mississippi, which is, I know it's not New Orleans, but they make gumbo every year, and they have like a Fat Tuesday Mardi Gras party at their house. It's fantastic. Homemade gumbo is the best.
I actually had chicken and biscuits for dinner last night.
Oh, nice.
My daughter, there's this place she likes to go, so.
I've got a nice dinner coming up tonight, celebrating my
actually
1 year anniversary.
My mind, that was last weekend. I had the chicken and biscuits with my girlfriend. I had a cheeseburger last night for my cheat meal.
Nice.
It's your anniversary, Colin? Your anniversary?
We're celebrating our anniversary tonight, going to a nice French restaurant.
Nice.
Congratulations.
I thought you got married in October.
Well, ish. It's hard to make reservations for this place. I made the reservations around our anniversary, but this is the first
February.
opening.
How is February close to October?
Well, and this way, look, it's like a twofer. Now I don't got to worry about Valentine's Day.
Yeah, true. Yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Work
That's
smarter.
fucked up.
Lucky woman.
Well, you don't know how good the restaurant is, dog.
I'm like, wait a minute, dude. Your anniversary is like 4 months ago.
Time is a flat circle. What are you gonna do?
I always
He's just
think it's
looking
kind
at
of-
me from the doorway.
If you ever wanted an insight into Colin, that's an example of it right there.
Oh man, I
You
just
can
got her
see her
staring
walking
at
in.
me.
Time is
I'm just waiting for the projectile shooter to just come into the frame.
Did we get you in trouble?
Know her. I get myself in trouble. I know how to get myself out of trouble too, so it's all good.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I saw James Hollingshead was what podcast did I see him on this week? He said he thought that he could take out Samson if he brings his best to the stage.
Samson's got shredded glutes now. There is no stopping him.
Yeah, Samson's looking really
It's
good.
like Samson's like if you took Superman and removed his conscience. You know, it's just over.
Yeah,
I mean, he is looking really good. Let me see if I can find. Yeah,
I reckon it'll be either Samson or Hardy first, and then it'll be Hollingshead after them.
Well,
Here's
Nick
2 days
Walker
ago.
is doing the New York Pro, which means he might also be doing this as a stat. God damn.
Crazy.
Like his symmetry
Insane,
got
man.
even better.
That just
I
doesn't
think-
look good.
He's just going to get better and better, and then provided that Milos doesn't ruin his peak,
Yeah,
just gonna be
I was
promised.
thinking the same thing. It's like,
Doesn't need to do
unless
anything.
Milos fucks this up with making him too wet, I don't know how he can lose.
yeah.
When has Milos ever done that?
Here's James. I mean, he looks good.
The problem
does,
is he looks good, but when you put him next to other guys, you can see some of those symmetries are not there.
So from a guy with short legs, his legs are too short for his torso, and that's a cold ass
Yeah.
thing to say because that's genetics. But if we're trying to beat Samson, who's absolutely perfect, I don't see it unless his peak is perfect and Milos overhydrates Samson or whatever the fuck he keeps doing that makes him have soft glutes.
Yeah.
I had Dr. Dean St. Martin on for an interview this week, and I guess he had worked with James or knows James from the past, but he was talking about how he had never seen anybody have paper thin skin like that guy does. So he has just like crazy thin skin.
The Dorian Yates skin.
Yeah. It's those British guys, man.
Well, James referred to it as conjugation and conditioning. We got a major echo going, huh?
I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, someone's got their speakers a little bit too loud, I think.
I mean, Hottie's looking pretty fucking good too, man. I feel like we talk about the Arnold every week, but this is going to be one of the best Arnolds in a while.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I've never been.
Yeah, I never.
I've never been either.
What?
Oh, wow.
No way! Oh man, it's actually more fun than the Olympia because I mean, if you like the convention, that's cool, but I don't know. I just think it's more fun than the Olympia.
That's Hottie.
It looks crazy.
Because like at the Arnold, the only thing happening in Columbus is the Arnold. At Vegas,
I mean, Vegas
God,
is Vegas.
yeah.
Hardy posted a transformation photo the other day. It looked insane. Like a before and after. It was like 2014 versus now, I think.
Is that Iran or is he still here in the U.S.?
He's in the U.S., I think. This was 5 days ago.
Jesus.
It's
I mean,
so
he
hard
looks
to
good.
tell, man.
You said he
If you
posted
like
a
him,
transformation.
Yeah,
I'd like
it
to
was.
know how much he
I think it was
weighs.
either him or maybe one of those bodybuilding pages.
Oh, yeah, it might have been one of these other guys.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how much he weighs?
Don't know. He's not very tall, right?
He's
like-
5'6", so he's two. I want to say he's about 245. I know Derek's 5'5", and he competes at like 235. Nick's 5'7", competes at like 260, 255. Do we have any recent pics of Nick? See, I think Nick's. Oh man, Nick looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, he just like he's like the one of the few people I've seen that's actually been able to improve his waist as he
Right.
gets
Oh.
bigger.
You know who looks insane at the moment? Antoine.
Yeah,
Yeah, get his. He put a recent picture up. I think side tricep. Yeah, get that up. That's insane.
This is the driest he's ever looked.
It is.
At least
Yeah,
I
the
can
driest.
recall.
And he's got
That's
insane separation through his quads and hamstrings.
That's Nick. That looks amazing. Like that looks
that's
amazing. When do you
awesome.
ever see a waist that small in a white guy? And he used to have the biggest waist.
Yeah, let me see if I can find.
Wait, is it
Antoine
racist
posted
if
a
a
picture
white
of
guy
his
says
legs.
other white people have big waists? I don't.
No,
know.
it's just kind of funny.
Okay.
The
Okay.
nonchalant manner in which you deliver your comments sometimes makes me.
Like the Stephen Wright delivery. Stephen Wright and what's his name? Norm Macdonald and Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
Colin, we were laughing. Colin pointed out when we know that Todd's censoring himself because, like, when there's something spicy comes up, he won't look at the screen. He's looking down. You can see him twitching.
It's like putting a Jonah silence on Yosemite Sam.
The smoke coming out of his ears. Who was I looking for? Antoine, right?
Yeah, it's his most recent first post on his page.
Yeah, let me find it here. Yeah, man. Let me pull this up.
Where is he competing?
The Arnold,
Isn't he doing the
right?
Arnold?
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's
not even his best pick. He put up a good one just like today. I thought.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
this
the one he
is
put
today.
up today. Yeah.
You're right.
He looks.
It looks
really-
better on the
another
phone.
one.
It looks better on the
Yeah,
phone.
it does.
that one,
That's
yeah.
what it was. Look at how round his
Dude.
legs look. Now, I remember his legs were 29 inches a couple years ago.
Holy.
And it's like hard to imagine that's what 29 inches look like if you are that lean. Because my legs are
kinda
29
big
inches.
body,
I look at
too.
that.
Crazy.
He's doing rest pause sets on his RDLs in his training at the moment. That'd destroy
Man,
me.
look at those. Look at the striations
look
in his
amazing.
shoulders.
Well,
Yeah.
that it
Insane.
destroys the rumor that you can't have striated delts if you're an open bodybuilder.
Yeah.
That
I think
only
you can't
natural
have
guys.
striated delts if you're doing tons of oil in them.
Yeah.
Yes,
a good
synth
point.
oil, yeah.
But you know what? Like only synthol. I don't think even like pinning your delts really has much of an effect because
It's just
I've
synth oil.
always pinned my delts a lot, and when I get lean, my shoulders are really fucking striated, like really striated. Yeah, it never affects me. People say you got like
stopped
mushroom
doing-
shoulders, but I
I
haven't
stopped
ever
doing
had
shoulder
that issue.
injections about 6 weeks out from the show. Month out, something like that. I just don't want any lumps. I've heard
Yeah,
the
that's
judges
fair
tell
enough.
people they don't like the mushroom lumps on your shoulders, man.
No,
Mm.
they don't.
Yeah.
That's why everyone does their glutes. I think too is that one, you can reach it and you can cover it up with the suit. Well,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
pretty much just classic now. I mean, with bodybuilding, the suit doesn't cover a whole lot, so and you're graded heavily on your glutes.
Trunks, and you can cover like your upper glute, like you can still show the side and see some striations.
Mhm.
I get these skins wear ones. I also got saggy old man ass, so it kind of helps helps with that. too.
Have you guys tried other locations? Like I went through this. I wanted to see if location injections would have any effect. I didn't. It doesn't make any sense scientifically, but you know there was some conjecture of it. So I wanted to try it myself. I tried traps, pec. I even did my bicep, triceps.
I've done
Yeah.
God everything. Calves,
Yeah.
traps.
Oh, calves was the worst.
Well, aren't
Calves
there?
can
I think
hurt.
there's
Calves
certain.
can hurt
I
a lot.
remember seeing the studies. Like there's certain locations where you get better absorption. I thought the glutes
Yeah,
were
glute.
the best.
The
Right?
glutes, right?
Glute
And,
is
well,
one.
that's what the science.
All those steroids are designed to be put in the glute, intramuscular, not sub-Q, not in weird places, not in the shoulder,
Yeah.
not in the quad.
But that's based off the size of the muscle and the blood flow that it
Yeah.
gets.
Yeah.
So like
yeah,
if you
exactly.
so if I'm gonna go do delts, if I inject a half a milliliter or a milliliter in each delt, and my delts are the size of a woman's glutes, then I start doing lateral raises for 8 sets. That's gonna pump a lot of blood into those shoulders, and it's gonna recycle through my heart back to the shoulders, right? Whereas the
Yeah.
reason why they say glutes is because they assume that it's just some fat ass who does nothing but get up off the couch walk to KFC and walk back. So his quads and his glutes are the only muscles that ever get worked in his life. They don't use upper body muscles except for to feed themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly, I mean, this is just me personal, so this is completely anecdotal, but I never noticed the difference in any, no matter where I pin.
No.
Interestingly enough, one of the easy, an easy spot that you wouldn't think of to pin was my traps. It doesn't hurt at all, and it was really easy.
I've never done that.
I didn't have any post-injection pain. Even when I used to do Sustain on there, it would be surprisingly easy.
What do you look in a mirror?
Opposite on it.
Yeah, I did it in the mirror. So you look in the mirror and just kind of
I can't even really get my.
How do you do that?
How do you get that?
I would just do it. You got to grab your arm.
One hand helps the other.
Like a cold sweat.
Oh,
rear naked choke yourself.
All right.
I've always done lats, and I did do triceps once. I wasn't a big fan of it.
I like shooting the arms just because I feel like it can actually aid in sort of like muscle awareness while you're training, in a sense.
Yeah,
I do my arms every now and then. I definitely learned my lesson about putting Primo in my arms, though.
Oh yeah.
What happened there?
Well,
it felt like a mule kicked me in my bicep.
Yeah, it would hurt. It hurts like a son of a bitch, but it swells them up. So my biceps would look bigger.
Look good.
Injected, but it hurt.
My arms got up to 19 and a half from using Primo in my tricep.
Just like inflammation.
It's just they were so swollen. Oh my god, and they were red. People would be like, "What happened to your arm?" I was like, Primo.
Just fucking jacked, bro.
Just Primo, and then they're like, "What's Primo?" It's like it's a pizza place in Birmingham. And then, there is a place called Primo's Pizza around here, and it's like gas station. It's a party store pizza. Where they've got the little rotisserie with the pizzas in it at the checkout counter when you buy cigarettes, and it's got really famous, so they started delivering, and so there's delivery pizza out of a party store in Birmingham called Primo's Pizza.
Wow. There's a deli meat brand in Australia called Primo.
Oh really?
In the grocery store.
Spanish for cousin, male cousin.
What a weird name for deli meat. Oh yeah, have some of my male cousin.
Because they're their first cousin, meaning that's your aunt or uncle's kid. Primo means first, so it's the first cousin is opposed to second cousin or third cousin.
Oh, so they're trying to sell the first deli meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shade says Broderick Chavez does an interview that where you pin will actually make the muscle grow better in that area.
I'd like to know where he said that, because Broderick's a smart guy. I call bullshit on that.
Yeah, I'd like to know where he went to school. I mean, after grade school.
Do you think you get some localized growth from
inflammation?
No,
it's just
how could it? It has to cleave in that circulation.
I doubt Broderick said that. Broderick's not an idiot. He's got degrees. He's coached Olympic athletes.
He's a smart guy.
He's an old school guy. So I really doubt he said that in an interview. You're probably smoking crack.
All right, I've said it.
But send us the link, because we'll watch it if that's the case.
So I think it does work, and this is why I do it. Is because let's say, like I said, I was going to do delts. I inject the delt. I start pumping blood into the delt. That blood will then carry the anabolics into the heart, and the heart goes back to the delt, but it distributes it through the whole delt. So maybe it's 1% more, but if it's over the course of 10 years, you got more going to that muscle. And so it's not the injecting the spot that does it alone. It's injecting it into the spot pre-lift. Then you go lift that body part. You'll get slightly more saturation of those androgen receptors in the muscle that you're training that day, because that's where, now if you were doing something else, like if you were going to shoot your glutes, then do warm up cardio and then start doing delts, in theory that would work the same. But the idea is you're injecting the muscle you're going to train. It recycles it through the heart back to the muscle.
If you're using anything outside of a suspension, it has an ester on it. It's not in circulation. Like you inject and then you go lift. It's still in depot. Like, what are you getting from that?
Right, you're getting a much smaller response than is noticeable by anyone who isn't
Right, because
probably
like
a pro
EQ, for
bodybuilder.
instance, is in depot for 4 days.
Right, that's
So-
a completely different situation. I'm
I'm saying
talking
like
about,
if you use like maybe an acetate, maybe, but a suspension or acetate would be the only
Yeah,
possible.
so I came up with this method with test suspension and tren acetate.
Okay.
And so
it would work with
when
the
it's-
suspension.
Yeah, so pre-contest, if I'm using Masteron Pro and I'm using Tren and I'm using sublingual Anavar before I
use
go
Tren
to the
base.
gym. Right.
Could you say on top of that too? I was going to say, could you say on top of that too, improve nutrient partitioning, nutrient delivery to that target muscle from the increased blood flow would also help. And then on top of that, the proprioceptive awareness, like Colton said, of like having a better mind and muscle connection due to the inflammation.
It's like having someone
it's a
pushing on your
triple-
delt with that finger the whole time. And like you said, because there's inflammation, there's more blood flow, so you get a better pump. Just even if you were just to inject salt water, or if you were to inject acid into the muscle, it's painful enough that it's going to cause inflammation, which means it's going to draw more blood flow. And if the rest of your blood is radioactive with your intra-workout, which is, you know, carbs and GDAs and EAAs, that should be more anabolic. So it's, you know, it is the long esters going to make a difference? No.
Is that this might be a really stupid question, but wouldn't there also be some form of like stretch mediated hypertrophy too, if theoretically there was enough oil
To the fascia, probably.
stretching
That's how
the
synth
tissue.
oil works, right? But I wouldn't be doing more than a cc in the delts. The max capacity of any one delt head is about a cc.
I would say that's not how the oil works. The oil works by just causing localized volume in the cell. Stretch mediated hypertrophy is when titin straightens out and then signals the conversion of IGF to MGF. So that's an entire, like, mechanical tension and a pump are not the same thing at all. You're talking about metabolic stress versus.
I think what Colton was talking about is not longitudinal stretch, but diametrical stretch.
Yeah.
I mean,
like-
it's possible.
yeah.
Anything's possible. I'm just saying that's
like cross sectional
like-
area expanding?
Almost like
because
a
of-
like proliferation sort of.
Plus, as the
Anything's
cross-sectional
possible,
area
yeah.
increases, you get stronger too, which means you're putting more mechanical tension. So it's a roundabout way to get more mechanical tension is to increase fluid inside the muscle. Most of you have noticed that you are stronger when you have a pump than when you're flat and walk into the gym.
Is
And
that
that's
just
probably
leverage?
due to, I think it's from the hydraulic internal pressure against the fascia.
I know some
Well, but
powerlifters
fascia
used
is-
to actually. Oh, I was just going to say that's funny you say that because I know some powerlifters that used to intentionally do a bunch of skull crushes and curls before they did bench because they'd feel like they had elbow sleeves on. Yeah, they felt stronger.
The only problem with the fascia thing is fascia is like a spider web. Like it's all
Right.
entangled in the muscle. It's not a bag like a chicken breast. I think that
But
that whole thing
there's
has been like Milton's full bag theory. That thing is junk.
well, there's
About
two.
stretching fascia because you can't stretch fascia. It's a structural part of the muscle.
There's I think there's two parts to it though. That there is, like you're saying, an interconnecting in between each muscle fiber, and then I think there's a big bag that goes around of it too, like a hot dog casing. I think there's
When
two
you-
different types of fascia.
When you, like, if you were to open up a muscle with a scalpel, there's no bag.
You're right. It does. It's not like it is in the movies where you see a calf wound as
Well, like a chicken
compartment
breast, like
syndrome,
that film.
where it just
I don't know if
squirts
that's film.
out
That's
of
like
it like a it does. You could have sliced and someone a muscle doesn't come out like a mushroom top.
Yeah.
No, for sure. There isn't that much internal pressure, but I don't know how to explain this better. It's
I'm not
like
saying
There's,
you're wrong.
there
I
is
just-
superficial fascia and deep fascia. There are two
right.
types
That's
of
what I'm
fascia.
trying to say. Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
It's not.
yeah,
It's not that thick. Like you don't see it though when you do surgery. It's not there.
No, no.
There's a-
One's
you don't
just beneath the skin, and the other one's around muscles and shit.
Actually, you know what? You do see the superficial stuff a little bit.
a little bit, but not.
A little bit. But it's not significant, like you're saying. That you're more. I think what you're saying is that if you were to increase the internal pressure inside of the outside casing, you wouldn't actually get that much stretch mediation on it or stretch on that outside casing because there's internal web surrounding all of the muscle fibers that also prevents them from stretching. And I guess my point, and I think Colton's point is, the more sodium and water you pump into that muscle over a long period of time will stretch out both. Kind of like I bought this shoe widener. People are like, you can't widen your shoes. And then they sell the shoe widener. And what it is it's like a shoe horn. It's like the shape of a foot. And you got a screw and it spreads it out. So when I did it without putting the Velcro on the squat shoes, it just stretched out. Nothing happened. So what I did is I pulled the Velcro down and actually made the shoe really tight. Then I started stretching it. And we're going to see if it actually stretches it.
So taking that, if you took 18 units of Ceristim and you injected it right in your foot, you'd get localized foot swelling.
I don't know if that's because it's water soluble, so wouldn't it distribute everywhere?
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
Oh, okay.
On 18 units, I get like preeclampsia. My wife's like poking my feet. She's like, "Where'd your ankles go?"
Oh God. See, I don't get that problem for me. I don't know. It's probably because you have one kidney.
It is.
I'm not outing you.
The way Todd says fascia again.
Yeah, I'm always gonna call it that because I don't know. I like it more. But I always thought when I watched that movie, he was talking about fascia, not about father.
My fascia.
Because he eats the skin. Remember, he peels the skin and eats it. I thought that's what he was into. He's like eating skin because it reminds him of fascia.
No, so did his daddy. He had like daddy issues.
That's my favorite is how Dr. Evil's mom was a webfoot hooker named Chloe. That was
they don't make comedies like that anymore.
I don't think that was in the script either. I think that they just caught Mike Myers just rambled some shit off on film, and they just kept it. They're like, "What the fuck?" That was the best monologue in movie history.
Yeah. They got more wild with each one. Like the first one was funny, the second one was funny, a bit more kind of off tap, and then the third one was that next bit further.
Yeah. Raunchy as hell.
I tried to watch some of Mike Myers' new stuff. It's just not funny anymore. I don't know. He just kind of lost his mojo.
Yeah.
I think when people have kids,
the irony.
my fascia. Oh man. Oh god. Man, we don't really have any questions, do we? Guys, you gotta get any questions.
New shit?
What's that? Yeah, he had a movie on Netflix. Oh god, what was it called? He did a couple movies and they were both really bad.
He had like the Guru,
Let's
the Love
look it up.
Guru or something.
Oh, that was 20 years ago.
Okay.
There was
Justin Timberlake.
The Pentaveret, that was the one.
Oh yeah, the Pentaveret. I remember seeing that advertised briefly and then never ever again.
I tried watching it and it was really bad.
I heard he's difficult to work with.
Todd would not like it. It was there were a lot of poop jokes. Todd would be upset.
Oh, it doesn't look funny. It just, oh man, I don't care. He's a reporter. Oh man, this looks terrible.
It was
All
like
right, what else is there?
Trying to get inside of some secret society, and it was like
So it's like Alex Jones and the Owl Cult thing, the Coconut Grove or whatever it's called, Bohemian Grove. That's what it looks like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it was like poking fun at stuff. It was just bathroom humor. It was not very good bathroom humor. I like bathroom humor.
That's where I draw the line. Yeah.
The new Dave Chappelle special was really good though.
Yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Where he said
you
he wasn't going
need
to
a
make fun of
membership
trans
for that.
people. What, Netflix? Yeah.
Oh, is it on Netflix? I'll have to check it out.
Said he wasn't going to make fun of trans people anymore because they were too well organized. He said he was going to make fun of disabled people instead.
Yeah.
That's savage.
Yeah, it was
he gets away with so much, and I get away with so little. I don't understand it. Maybe it's because he's the
You
greatest.
just
comedian of all
misunderstood,
time.
Todd.
Well, like they don't know I'm joking. Like what? It says comedy channel. I'm listed as a comedy channel. I'm not listed as educational.
Exclusive comedic content on Rumble only.
Yeah.
Political rantings and Toddisms on Rumble.
Dude, that cardio video I put up, the whole second half of it was basically about OnlyFans and TikTok. It had nothing to do with cardio. The whole second half of that video, I was just like, I can't believe they left this in. I thought we were cutting this shit. No, it was all in there.
Yeah,
I need to watch your cardio video.
That's why I put it up in the group chat.
I watched it. It was good, but I don't know why you would need a part 2. I watched part 1. I was like, yep, that's pretty comprehensive. So I was assuming, part 2 must have been just an off-tangent rant.
Well, the second half with the yoga pants and all that stuff.
It wouldn't be a Todd Lee production without an off-tangent rant.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like I go to the gym, right, like everyone else, and there's these arc trainers. I like the arc trainer. It's in the video. There's 5 of them. There's a middle one. I use the middle arc trainer. For some reason, like this one time, there was this woman using treadmill in front of the arc trainer, and I didn't notice this, but there's no one else there but her. So I go and get behind her, and out of the whole gym, I only used the piece of car equipment right behind her. So she's like, and turns off her machine and walks away. And then it's just like, oh, that girl thought I was checking her out, that I'm such a creep. I walked in, chose to do cardio because she's the center of my universe. And then I chose this one piece of equipment because it's what gave me the best view of her ass. Little does she realize that the monitor is right in between me and her. So it's the only place I could sit in the gym and not see her ass. If I wanted to look at her ass, I would have one on the right or the left of me. But it's like, if you don't want people looking at your ass, why the fuck are you wearing those pants? Like, why? Like, I have sweatpants on. I don't have skin tight, see-through white underwear. Like, why the fuck would you wear those if you're upset? That's the whole point of those pants, is to get people's attention. So it's just weird that she flipped the fuck out. So I didn't bring this specific incident up, but I'm deeply scarred for life as a result. And so it just percolates out every time I talk about all types of stuff. And that came up in the cardio video, was that they need to have cameras on the back of yoga pants that automatically live stream to TikTok, so that these girls can validate that they're the center of the universe, because their TikTok followers will affirm them, that call them so brave for doing cardio in public, because they catch all these people checking out the butt, when it basically has "Eat Me" written across it in red letters and a neon flashing sign. That's how I feel when I look at you. Is that what Tommy said?
Don said that's how he feels when you look at his calves, Todd.
Yeah, they do look tasty. They look like giant chicken drumsticks. I feel like they should be something I would find in a gas station, breaded. They look so delicious, Tommy.
I like how when we're at the gym, Paul's the only one who ever gets busted for looking. I could post up on you're muted, Paul. I could post up on the stair mill behind somebody wearing those pants and tuck a napkin into my shirt and start licking my lips, and I'd be fine. Paul makes one glance and he gets in trouble.
It's because I look like a serial killer. People just assume the worst.
You got a cat too, Ryan?
Yeah.
You got an orange boy?
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get Paul is those really thick glasses, like thick rimmed black glasses with thick Coke bottle lenses.
No, we need to get
that would
Paul
definitely
a pair of those Jeffrey Dahmer glasses.
And like I guess that's what I was thinking about. And then get him like a flannel shirt. A flannel shirt.
Getting accused of looking on contest prep is the worst part, because I'm basically asexual when I'm on contest prep. I think it's the last thing on my mind.
You thought maybe she had food. You were looking to see if she was eating something.
Oh man, let's grab some questions. Looks like we got.
Do we have any?
We got a few.
We got a few now.
Might as well start off with the gentleman who deigned to pay us cash money. Flair 93. Do you guys see any potential problems with drinking 7 to 8 liters of water? How much water would you recommend for someone weighing 200 pounds? You guys are awesome.
I always
The standard
drink
is half your body weight in ounces.
Have to know like how much you sweat to. You're working a physically active job. Like, are you taking drugs, drug free? Like,
Realistically,
those
though,
things.
how much water variation do humans need? Most need the same. I don't think most people
Yeah.
aren't sweating enough. They need more.
Justin
Yeah.
does a water load and then a water cut going into the final week of the show. I think it's like 10 days. He had me doing 8 liters of water the last 10 days. And I like it was a struggle getting down 8 liters of water.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the standard equation is half your body weight in ounces. Is an appropriate amount of water for a human to drink.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's,
I always
that's,
think
It doesn't need to
that's
be.
what I
always
said.
I don't think most people also need to be measuring water. That's
Yeah,
my
the only
opinion.
time I measure
rather
is
you
the
measure
last
food.
2 weeks of contest prep.
Yeah, I agree with that because that matters then. But for the rest of the year,
Yeah,
I
the rest of
don't.
the year
I don't
I
have
won't.
any clue how much sodium I take in, how much water I drink. I drink when I eat.
Yeah.
I drink about 8 to 10 liters a day, so it's about 300
Holy
ounces.
shit, that's a lot,
I drink
man.
I drink about 6 liters a day.
I probably do
Like
it
this
if
is 1.5 liters. If I drink 5 of these, that's 7.5 liters. And then if I have one pre-workout, one intra-workout, one post-workout, that's 10 of these, or that's 8 of these, so that'd be 12 liters.
I'm probably doing between I don't know if I count the energy drinks and coffee. Probably about 200 ounces of water a day, I guess.
Yeah, when
I'm
I
just
say
guessing.
water, I mean I drink
Liquid.
water and I drink nothing but water. But if you drink things like coffee, Coke, whatever, iced tea, that's all water. It's 99% water.
Yeah.
I
I hate, it
usually
when
have-
coaches, I hate it when coaches say you can't count like what is it, like water with EAAs or like sugar-free cordial,
Yeah, that
like
makes
and
no
stuff
sense.
with your water intake. It's like, are you a fucking moron? Like, really? There's so many coaches in Australia that do that, and I just look at them and I'm like, where the fuck did you get your qualifications from? A fucking cereal box? Like, do you realize that like diet soda and stuff is pretty much like 99% fucking water and a bit of carbonation and some artificial sweetener?
So
I'm
Flair,
lucky people don't say shit like that around me.
Yeah, that's good.
Flair, the answer to your question is just I don't overthink it, man. Just if you're thirsty, drink water. That's kind of what I do in the off season. I don't really.
I mean, the only
overthink it.
problems with over drinking water is drowning. So if you live, you're okay.
That's
I
not my
have
focus.
I don't know what it is with me. Maybe it's because it's diabetic. But like if I drink a shit ton, I get hyponatremic. My my
Yeah,
sodium
like,
will get
start
too low.
holding.
What is it? How do you know
fluid and
that? Like,
stuff?
what do you feel like?
Blood work.
That's it.
Yeah, well, I start feeling a little like woozy and lightheaded. Yeah, just feel weird. And then I'll get my blood work done, and I'll be hyponatremic.
So, like, what's hyponatremic for you? Like 138?
It's usually just a couple points low. It's nothing crazy. Tommy John
'cause
says it's the same.
I come
Headache.
up as 130. I get 138 all the time. I never even take it seriously.
I'd have to look at my last blood panels and see where they were at. I have to do a shit ton of salt to keep myself in range.
I do about 20 grams of salt a day.
Well, that's more than me. I'm about like
To
10.
balance the water. Yeah.
Well, I
I'm
shouldn't
the-
say 10 grams of salt. 10 grams of sea salt, which is like what 40% sodium or something.
Yeah, it's like
So
4
like
grams of salt.
6,000
sodium,
Yeah.
in total throughout
I
the day,
tried-
including
I
food
tried
and
to-
salt.
I try to hit 10 grams of sodium a day for sure because I want to stay as hydrated as possible.
All right, let's grab another question.
I find I have to stay on top of my potassium more. I have to keep my potassium intake high.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I was talking with Dean about that.
I don't think we get enough potassium like in our diets, and like a lot of the nutrient drinks or whatever, they don't have enough potassium. Like a lot of them do a max like 10.
Like
10%
Gatorade,
of
the ratio of
recommended
sodium
RDA.
to potassium's off. Hey,
Yeah. When our ancestors had a 16-to-1 potassium to sodium ratio in their diet.
Yeah.
Modern Americans have 1.36 to 1 ratio. Potassium to sodium.
It's
This is
good.
interesting.
I've never personally seen anyone outside maybe Paul who actually has a sodium deficiency. Not in the United States, not in any civilized country. There's no one has a sodium.
Yeah.
deficiency.
I'm going to slaughter.
I don't
this
agree
thing.
with salting things.
Alex, I don't know. Masteron causes hyponatremia, guys. I've had it all the time since being on Masteron, and I eat a shit ton of salt. Is there any truth to that? I don't know.
It's aldosterone because the beta the ERB.
It's the reason why you get that dry effect from it.
Yeah, it's not acting as an AI. It's just the way it interacts with the estrogen receptor.
All right, let's grab another question.
Can I expand or
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Expound on that a little bit? Like, so what does it do with aldosterone?
As what should be increasing it.
Oh, it increases it. Okay, so
Is that right? Wow, that should be right.
I don't know. I don't know what estrogen receptor beta does to aldosterone. I would think that it makes you retain water, and it would make you retain water by retaining sodium and potassium.
so that it increases the aldosterone, so that would increase the retention of sodium.
Oh, you're saying, okay, so if aldactone is potassium sparing, then aldosterone would be potassium excreting. And therefore, if it binds, it would cause potassium excretion. I mean, like, I guess so, but I use way more Masteron than that guy. I probably use more Masteron than a Masteron factory, and I've never had a problem with the potassium. So I don't know what
I would
that
consider
is.
you the Masteron king of Chicago.
Yeah.
Well, except I live in Detroit, so I don't know. It's like the Midwest, the Masteron of
Ferris
the
Bueller
Midwest.
Days Off reference.
Yeah,
I got you,
exactly.
Kurt.
Oh man,
Abe Froman.
that was a good movie. That was a great movie.
That was a good pull.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
You are the king of Chicago.
I love that scene.
That is
beauty maitre d'.
I mean, is it possible that Masteron has an affinity to the mineralocorticoid receptor itself?
It's unknown. We don't. We literally only know sex hormone binding globulin. We don't.
But
know
it would make
anything else.
sense, though. It would make sense.
It would make sense. Yeah.
It's not to say that it doesn't, but it's one of those things. It's like, does Masteron grow muscle? Sure, I guess it could. Do we know it? No, we don't know.
That would actually make more
Probably
sense when
won't.
it actually increases aldosterone production itself. Right? It would make more sense that it just has an affinity for the mineralocorticoid receptor. But of course,
it will never be known.
Right.
I mean, I would be more. I would see that as more credible if instead of I eat a shit ton of salt, there was a gram, because shit ton isn't a unit of measurement. And whenever I talk to people who thinks in terms of shit ton, that they're feelers, they're not thinkers, and there's no evidence at all to support anything. Think about how many times people are like, my son wants to gain weight. Well, how much is he eating? He eats a lot.
He's a lot. Usually
he eats like shit. He eats nothing. He eats like 1,500 calories, and he drinks like 1,000. It's like, bitch, this is 2,500 calories. I don't even get out of bed for
every
this.
third day.
Yeah, it's like, what's one waffle?
Yeah.
I literally had what I have. I had the 300 carb post-workout meal yesterday, so that was right there 1,400 calories when you include the protein and the fat.
Yeah. The big issue, the big thing that comes back to those hard gainers that say that shit is they're inconsistent as hell with their nutrient intake, their calorie intake. Like, same thing with people who are fat. It's like, usually they're like, oh, I eat so little. It's like, yeah, on Monday through Friday, then Sunday you pick the fuck out and you ruin that entire deficit you made the whole week. Yeah. And then the same thing with hard gainers. Yeah. Something. Yeah. And then hard gainers, they'll be like, oh, I ate like 3 servings of mum's spaghetti and this and that. It's like, yeah, you did that. And then you ate an apple the next day. Like, what do you expect? Like,
a lot of the severely overweight people I work with, they drink a lot of their calories too. If you look at their food consumption, they're like, "There's no way that you eat 2,000 calories." And they're like,
then
how much water do you drink?
Starbucks.
The question that always gets them is, you ask them how much water they drink, and they're like, "What do you mean? How much water do you drink?" "Oh, I don't drink any water. I drink iced tea." "How much iced tea do you drink?" "Like the gallon of Arizona, a gallon of orange juice, and a gallon of milk." It's like, oh, so you do eat.
Then the Starbucks Frappuccino with whipped cream and
I've been watching
3 pumps of syrup.
My daughter's been watching that My 400-Pound Life show, and the amount of food that these people eat is unfucking believable, man.
Astronomical, eh?
Like there's this lady who was drinking a case of soda a day. I'm like, how's that even possible?
Yeah,
you're right though, Kurt.
You'd
like
have
none
to-
of these obese people even drink water. They don't drink water at all.
No. And it's that's kind of the technique I feel like we use with bodybuilders on their high day, right? We like unteach all those things we normally teach. Like, we're like, don't drink juice, don't use sugar, don't, like, those are all the things I do now. I put sugar in my coffee on purpose. I drink juice on purpose. I use regular maple syrup. I use honey.
Yeah, I'll do that on my high days.
We're taught to use all this artificial stuff.
So I've
Yeah, I put honey on my cereal. It's amazing.
I went to what you were doing, and even though I was eating less total calories because I lowered my fat and increased my sugar, that I look leaner, and I'm gaining strength, which implies I'm gaining muscle, even though I'm not gaining weight. And I'm also, my digestion's better. So I've used to get like dumping syndrome if I would have maple syrup. Now I don't anymore. I can have like several ounces of maple syrup on 8 Eggo waffles as a post-workout meal. And that's like,
you think it's the reduction in fat? The reduction in fat that caused that?
I think that my body got used to having syrup, and that's what it was. And then it was, and that because I reduced the amount of dietary fat, it's like I figured this shit out when I was like 9 years old, and then all of the scientific community spent 30 years trying to convince me I'm wrong and that there's fat that I need. And then it's like, that's clearly not the case. If I have 20, 30 grams of fat in a day, that's enough. And then I'm having whatever, 800, 700 carbs. So even though rather than having 500 carbs and 100 grams of fat, having 700 carbs and like 30 grams of fat, technically it's like less calories, but I'm actually growing from it because there's zero anabolic effect out of that fat. And it's now I understand how Kurt could be having 2,000 carbs a day, because I didn't think I would ever be able to digest it. But now that I can digest sugar again, having sugar with the insulin, I don't get fat. When I used to have sugar without insulin, I would get fat. But you have to
and some of the premise that people miss is that gaining muscle is not purely a caloric equation. There are calories needed, right? There's energy needed, but it's a hormonal response. So and which you technically can grow on a 200 calorie excess. You do not need. My calories are high because that is my maintenance calories. I'm not eating a huge excess for my body weight, otherwise I wouldn't lean. I'd be fat. It's people way overeat thinking they can force protein synthesis. It's not a caloric equation, and dietary fat has almost no role in that at all.
Right. If anything, it slows down digestion, makes it harder to eat.
Well, let's look at it this way. Out of the 3 macronutrients, which one has the most acute hormonal responses? Carbohydrates. Then protein, then fats is fucking dead last.
You need both, right? And IGF, again, not to go off on tangent on this, but everyone's all hung up on freaking estrogen. IGF responds to glucose, and insulin doesn't respond to estrogen. It needs estrogen present at the liver, but it does not respond to estrogen. High estrogen doesn't make more IGF per se.
I've seen both. I mean, I have blood work to support that, at least in me. I need the estrogen to make the IGF-1, because when I've had a 6 estradiol, I had a 125 IGF-1, and when I had a 100 estradiol, I had a 468 at the same amount of GH. However, I couldn't push beyond that 468 until I increased the food and the insulin. So this concept that, so this concept that, like J3U, for instance, and everyone else teaches that insulin scientifically doesn't grow muscle. The subjects aren't on 20 units of GH and 4,000 calories. Like once you start adding insulin to a maxed out equation where you're getting maximum synthesis of IGF-1 from GH, once I added in more insulin to that, I got more IGF-1 out of the same GH. So that's parameters. That must be the fact. That must be how the insulin actually is anabolic in bodybuilders. Is it increases the efficiency of the conversion of GH to IGF-1?
Well, several things. It does several things. But that's one.
Right.
But where and we don't need to go on it because I feel like we've done 18 million videos on this. So people watch and get it. Is the estrogen thing you're talking about though? You're not measuring what's bound. Just because your in serum IGF has gone up does not mean it's doing anything.
Yeah, it's not local IGF-1.
Binding protein 1. No, I don't want to argue with you, but that when these guys they're letting their estrogen go to 200 because they're supposedly anabolic with their big old milky breasts. They're not anabolic. That's not IGF. That's
I'm not defending abusing estrogen. I'm saying that
not you.
But I understand that's why you.
Todd, read your comments on Instagram. There was a guy today that responded about prolactin, and tren. I don't know if you saw. I answered for him. But they try to look at every other metric outside of controlling estrogen. Like he doesn't want to look there. He's like, but the prolactin's up. Yeah, dude, because your estrogen's up.
Right. And I know that
estrogen going up.
I know that you're fighting against the abuse of estrogen because of what Victor has done to the community by
I'm fighting against it because when we develop drugs that are anabolic, we don't raise estrogen in humans. It's done in cattle. That's different. That's like
Right,
you
and-
only had one stomach.
Right. But prior
Because
to
of the
this,
differences
people
in
had-
IGF binding proteins.
Yeah, it's just we have binding protein 1. Cattle do not.
All right.
Victor
so,
is fine. Victor, there's nothing that comes out of Victor's mouth that's accurate about anything.
so what you're saying is if you have a 100 IGF-1, it's better than having a 500 IGF-1 because you're saying the
necessarily.
reason why it's 100, not 500, is because all you're measuring is the amount that's bound to binding protein 1.
I think what he's saying is
three, something's with 3, someone's with 1, someone's with 2. It depends on what you're picking up.
what
right?
what and what you're what. Sorry to interrupt, Kurt. What you're trying to imply, isn't it, is that having a higher systemic IGF-1 may not be necessarily better than having a lower one. Yeah,
No, so
but
we
it's,
know-
you're not saying that a lower one's better. You're just saying that having higher is not necessarily better.
Correct.
Same way as like having higher total testosterone doesn't necessarily mean more muscle.
Exactly.
Like it's not a direct kind of. There's no direct relationship.
Yeah. The difference
All right.
between sedentary people and active people is, and this is where, so serum IGF can be where it is. If you're sedentary and you have a high IGF, it'll stay in serum and it won't do anything, will not act locally. If you then all of a sudden pick up a weight and there's mechanical tension, it will go locally and convert to mechanical growth factor. That's what you want, not serum IGF. Serum IGF, with my one kidney, I have a 700 IGF. Every doctor that looks at my labs think I'm a giant. I'm a midget. It doesn't mean anything. It's a great metric to test if you want to see if you inject Increlux and it's real Increlux, or you inject GH and you want to check if it's real. Sure, use that as a metric. But measure your progress, measure your growth. That's what matters. The result, not the process. But we're looking at
And
these
the thing,
numbers that mean nothing.
yeah, and it's likely the things that we can't see, like your IGF-1 receptor density, and then your local IGF-1 activity. That's more of a contributor,
Yeah,
and it's
biopsy
like that's shit we can't measure. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We just don't know.
No, a natty female wouldn't virilize on 180 of G.
Let's read the question for our listeners on Spotify. S225 asks, would a natty female, am I pronouncing this correctly, virilize
Yep.
Yeah.
on 1 IU a day of growth hormone?
No, that's like saying, would a cat drown in sand? It's like,
I mean, growth hormones. It's not a sex hormone.
Yeah, it's not non-virilizing peptide hormone. Yeah.
Okay.
The 2 IUs wouldn't be virilizing either. Like, insert any IUs, it's not virilizing. Might cause a little bit of
100
say,
IUs wouldn't be realized.
No. And your pituitary comes right back on as soon as you, even like if you inject growth hormone once a day, by 12 hours later, your pituitary is back on. It, like never, it doesn't suppress like the other part.
Yeah.
Peptide hormones in general don't have long-term suppression. It's just the steroid hormones are the long-term.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab another question.
Shane's been waiting. He wants to know what your pre-workout meal looks like versus your post-workout meal.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, except post-workout's usually a little bit bigger.
Right.
I usually try to stick. I don't know. I'm apprehensive about having sugar in my pre-workout meal because I feel like by the time I'm through my mobility stuff, I start crashing from the sugar.
Yeah,
When it
I
comes
prefer
to
like
driving.
chicken and rice pre-workout, then cereal post-workout with whey. That's what I usually do.
What's mobility work? I don't know what that is.
It's like that fruity shit people do in the aerobics area where like the girls, you know how girls will grab a mat and they'll go steal all the dumbbells and they'll walk over into a corner and they'll do their workout alone with like the dumbbells. I actually go there too and I'll do like mobility stuff on the floor.
I
like
do a lot of
switchbacks with
mobility
my
work spectating.
Mobile around
they
the
think-
gym.
They think I'm there for them. I'm like, no, if you came
Neck
at 3 in the
mobility.
morning, I'd still be here. I'd just be
Sometimes
alone.
I will die and come back as a foam roller.
Colin keeps his neck very mobile at the gym. It's very loose. That's why he never has a neck injury or cramp.
Yeah.
Like one of my clients asked me what I do for mobility, recovery, and stretching work. And I'm like, I don't know. That's somebody else. I've never done any of that shit.
Not since jujitsu.
No,
You
jiu-jitsu,
used
we
to-
did it.
It
Yeah.
used to be so flexible. I know.
I
used
can't
to-
even touch my kneecaps
I know.
now.
I know it's bad.
Scratch my back. That ain't happening.
Yeah.
Let's grab another question. Sure.
Let's see. Aljaz, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. What are
I
the
just said
best
Alex.
foods? What are the best foods to incorporate in your diet for probiotics and prebiotics for someone who doesn't tolerate kefir because of acid?
Sauerkraut?
Yeah.
Greek
Kimchi,
yogurt.
sauerkraut. Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
There's some fruits that also have prebiotics, like kiwi fruit and stuff. You could incorporate some of that. That'll help. There's and then also things that aren't probiotics or prebiotics, just things that have good, like, useful enzymes, like bromelain in pineapple core. You could have a bit of pineapple in some of your meals, help with digesting the protein if you're having issues with that.
I think he actually said he's already doing that. He likes to put pineapple on his chicken, which sounds pretty good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So pineapple, and then a bit of kiwi fruit. That's got a prebiotic, I think, from memory. Prebiotic,
Oh.
yeah.
I didn't know that. Awesome.
Yeah, it starts with A. I can't remember it. I'll butcher the fucking name if I
That
try to
was
say it.
bromelain. That was just an enzyme.
Oh no, bromelain. Yeah, it's got that, but there's a prebiotic starting with A. Yeah, I can't. I have to look it up. I'll check. I'll tell you guys. Where is it? Actinidia delicosia or something. I can't pronounce it all.
Sounds like a spell from Harry Potter.
It does. It literally sounds like a spell from Harry Potter. I'm gonna put
Wait,
it in
what is
the
it?
comments.
Now
I'll
you
put
got
it.
my attention.
I'll put it in the comments, and so you guys can read it because I'm butchering the name. I don't know Latin. Here we are.
Acidophilus? Yeah.
What? No, they're pulling our leg. I'll put it in. I just put it in the comments then.
That's actually Greek. The philus means love. It loves acid. Acid.
No, so there's a two. Yeah, there it is. So basically,
that deliciosa. That does sound like a Harry Potter spell.
it does. Yeah. So
Picture Hermione
actually-
saying it.
Yeah. Apparently,
Deliciosa.
apparently.
It sounds like it's like a spider dessert.
So it's I think it's a polyphenol that acts like a prebiotic by selectively enhancing the growth of intestinal lactic acid bacteria.
Cool.
Yeah,
Did not know
supposedly. I don't know. I don't know how much.
Learn a
Like,
new thing today.
I don't know
Why
how
do
much
I find
legitimacy
it-
there is to it.
Why do I find nutrition so fucking boring? It's like all the guys who identify.
Nutrition.
It's like everybody who identifies as a bodybuilder find training to be boring. They're just like, just lift heavy, man, and try. Like that's like me with nutrition. Just like put it in your fucking mouth and swallow it. Like I couldn't care less about nutrition.
And other pickup lines by Todd Lee.
I love it. See, we all have our own.
Yeah.
It's like, put it
But yeah,
Slays
I like
fly hop. At the
George's
Primo Pizza.
recommendation was good. George's recommendation: kimchi, sauerkraut, fermented dairy, and foods in general.
Well, he said he couldn't do the kefir.
right. We were
Yeah.
said the other two.
Oh, so no
that means
fermented
I should
dairy then,
be-
yeah.
So that means I should be going to the Korean barbecue every day, right?
Yeah, 100%. When are we
Or
going?
the Asian grocery store has kimchi. It's cheaper.
I do. All seriousness, I get the Bubby's fermented sauerkraut. I do serving of that every day, and then I'll have a fat-free Greek yogurt every day. So that's my routine.
My body
lot of
so
fruits.
hates dairy.
Ryan,
A lot of
what's your
fruits
cat's
honestly
name?
have prebiotic activity, so just having more plants in your diet, honestly, like fruits, vegetables. So just eat more like an adult and less like a 13-year-old boy, and you'll improve your.
Robert,
Yeah.
Robert speaking my
Yeah, I'm familiar with that prebiotic.
McDoubles.
And make sure to get a serving of that every day.
That's
What's your cat's name, Ryan?
This is Leo.
Leo. I love it.
Leo. Nice.
Very handsome boy. Yeah, orange cats are almost always male, and they're almost always larger than other cats.
Mm.
Is it true?
Mm-hmm. No, I just made it up.
I make shit up all the time.
It's deceivingly accurate.
One thing I've learned about the bodybuilding and bro community: if you say it confidently and you say it loudly, they'll believe it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's all kinds of stupid shit out there, man.
So like yesterday, I had someone arguing with me on the phone about, well, like, just do I have to refrigerate my GH before reconstituting it? I'm like, no. And they're like, well, everyone else says it. I'm like, then do it. Just
Why are you fucking asking then?
But he doesn't let it go. He's just like, well, I mean, like, why would they say that? I'm like, because they're fucking morons. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And then he's like, well, I think people just hear other people say it and they repeat it. I'm like, yeah, that's their whole career is they repeat dumb shit on the internet so other dumber people will listen to them and give them money. I mean, like, I'm sure in 5 years I'll look at everything I say and think it was stupid, but I can't come up with a single fucking reason to refrigerate the stuff. And there's none of the pharmacists refrigerate it, but mine's in my fridge. So I guess I don't really give a shit. You know, it's like, I'd rather be safe than sorry. It's like why people pray. It's like there's no evidence, but it doesn't cost a whole lot. And there's a whole lot of, if you're wrong, you're really wrong. So you might as well just do it anyway.
That's what I do. I just put it in there.
Yeah. The George asked a couple questions, a massing one and about vegetables and fruits.
Will you grab those, Colin?
Yeah, I see. I've got him here. You want to take his massing question or his fruits and vegetables question?
Fruit and vegetables easier. I could do that in a jiff.
I don't even know what those are.
So I don't like the word. We'll read it out first.
Yeah. George wants to know how many fruits and vegetables would you say is optimal, and what is too many? He could probably be a vegan. I don't know.
I like to suggest most people aim for 300 grams of fruit and 500 grams of vegetables per day from at least 2 to 3 different sources. And that aligns with like most countries' standard guidelines for fruit and vegetable consumption. Usually it's about like 2 or 3 servings of fruit and 5 servings of vegetables per day. A serving size usually ranges anywhere between 75 and 125 grams for vegetables, and fruit's about 75 to 100 grams. So that usually kind of like lines up with those kind of recommendations.
Cool.
So, Paul, you'd be jealous. There's a all-you-can-eat Korean place that opened up next to Powerhouse Novi, and it's like you can either do all-you-can-eat barbecue, or you can do all-you-can-eat hot pot. And it's so cool because you get like a little computer and you order what you want and then hit send, and then they bring it up to you. Then there's a sushi place also in where there's a robot that serves you. There's like a little robot cart that wheels out your sushi order and your drink order. Cool. It's just like really slow. It's almost like if you had like a GIMP for a waiter.
They just opened up a Korean barbecue place right next to my gym. I love Korean barbecue.
Oh, no.
Have you ever had the conveyor belt sushi, Todd? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I saw it in Hawaii, and
Kaiten sushi.
And then they got that here too now with that same place I was talking about with the robot waiter that brings out the drinks. They also have a conveyor belt, but you gotta be careful where you sit, because if you sit at the end of the conveyor belt, it's been totally picked over. Like you'll be eyeing some shit when it goes through the whole restaurant, and some fucking kid will grab it right before it gets to you, and you'll be like, "Baka!" It's like, Baka. Yeah. I knew you'd like that, Colin. The punchline. I wound up to that one.
Did I ever tell you guys what I did after my last bodybuilding show?
What's that? Like
food wise? So there was basically an all-you-can-eat sushi place down the road in the city from my bodybuilding show, my last one, and it's called Shabu House, and they sell shabu and sushi, so you can have like the hot pot of sushi, and you pay, I think it's like 45 Australian dollars, which is like $30 US, I think, a head, and you get all you can eat for the night. I shit you not, it was like the night of my show, Nationals, the pro qualifier. I competed. We went there for my like post show meal or whatever. My partner and I, well, my fiance and I both competed at that show, so we were both obviously ravenous. And yeah, I think I downed like, I counted it at the end. It was around 106 or 108 pieces of sushi at the end of the night I downed. And I also had some like hot pot. I went for like 3 rounds of frozen yogurt after, and I swear the edema I've had has never been so bad. Like the next day, I legitimately looked like a Jenny Craig fucking patient. Like the ankles are just like so bad.
You'll get those. I always tell people, like after a show, like when I do contest prep, I always tell them to check in with me 3 days after, just to kind of regulate them. Like I think if they know they've got to check in with me in a couple days, they won't fuck up. But then you'll get those guys you don't hear from for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they send the check-in pics, and it's like they're 16 weeks out again. Like, what the fuck happened, man?
Yeah, it can happen so easy though. I'm just lucky I have a good metabolism, because like the next day I was lighter than I was on show day. I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? But yeah, you see some nightmares though, eh? Like you probably had the odd client where they, like you said, they just don't check in. I had one guy that actually pulled out a week before his show, a natty guy as well, which makes it 10 times worse. And he literally just went like radio silent for 5 weeks. And then I get this message out of the blue. He's like, dude, I think I might have fucked up. Like how? Like how? Yeah. I said long time. Yeah. And then he said, basically told me his body weight. And I don't know what the conversion is in pounds, but he was up 17 kilo.
Oh my God.
In 5 weeks.
Man.
That's 37.5 pounds.
Yeah. Oh, I felt so bad. And he's just like, he legitimately looked like he was almost the start of like his prep in terms of body fat levels. It's what happens, man. Like, that's why I wanted you to check in.
Do you feel bad for people when they do that, or are you angry at them?
I feel it depends on the situation. Sometimes I feel angry if I've said to them, like, what to do, and they basically flat out ignore me, and then they try to put the blame on me. But if they don't put the blame on me, I kind of feel empathetic, because I'm like, well, we're only human at the end of the day, and in the end, as Justin always says, Grelin always wins. So you can only kind of be empathetic with them.
I don't know. Well, I think fucking up and eating 1 jar of peanut butter, I feel bad for the woman. But if a dude is to fucking go out and gain 37 pounds of fat over the span of 5 weeks, that's a lot of, there's no willpower breakdown. That's some type of self-abuse. That they
I need is that.
But that's,
how do you do that?
That's like 100,000 calories, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't even understand how you could stomach that amount of food in that period of time.
Yeah, right. I honestly, I don't either. Like, I'm literally like sick of binging and eating after the first week post show. Yeah,
I was thinking about Nicolas Cage and leaving Las Vegas, only with Crisco. Like, and your intestines wouldn't even tolerate that. You would just get steatorrhea. Like, I don't know how you could possibly gain 5 pounds of fat every week for 5 weeks.
You're
like,
just like,
or 7 pounds of fat.
No muscle fluid.
I'd say, I mean, it's hard to tell when you gain that much fat. It's hard to tell how much muscle is gained, but I'd say he would have gained some muscle in the process. Like,
there's no way the
it's just he had that much
training. He's like, he just completely shit the bed in every way. Like, to do it like that, he must have been drinking nothing but regular sugar and eating cookies and donuts for 5 solid fucking weeks with no training. Because you couldn't possibly do that. Like 7 pounds a week. And I know what Paul's saying, there's water rebound, but the water would have washed off after 5 weeks. That you would have went up 30 pounds of water and back down like 20 pounds of water. So even if it's 25 pounds, that's 5 pounds per week. That's going to be 17,500 calories per week. That's an extra an extra 2,500 calories per day. That means I couldn't eat an extra 2,000 calories if I tried, unless it was pure fat. There's no way. And you'd think that after a while,
he likes his beer, so I think that was a big factor. Yeah.
Even a case of beer. I mean, how much is a case? If each beer itself
calorie density is like 7 calories per gram of alcohol. It's pretty close to the density
just
of
take
fat.
the beer itself. Okay, so if Michelob Ultra is 64, then that means that a regular beer is probably 150 times 24. That's like 3,000. Like you're at drink. But if you drink a case of beer, you're not going to also be able to eat 3,000 calories of whole food.
Yeah, obviously.
If all you did was drink a case of beer a day and one protein shake, you're still not going to be over 3,200 calories or so, which means maybe you're 3,700 calories, but that's not a 2,000 surplus. Even a case of beer a day wouldn't do it.
But Todd, you're also not storing alcohol itself as fat. Can't, right? It's poison. Has to get broken down and excreted. But everything else you take in with it will get stored. That's the
one thing I'm assuming too is
beer and elite chicken wings and pretzels.
Exactly.
Chicken wings.
He weighed himself at the end of the day too. So I'm assuming it's just like weight from food mass in his stomach and his gastrointestinal tract, and then he like probably had some clothes on. He weighed himself at the gym. I know that.
I've had some people do that though. I've had a few people have crazy like weight gains like that. I had one dude blew up like 30 pounds in a couple weeks. It was all water.
Yeah. If you compare your morning weight though to like an afternoon weight, it can vary by at least 10 pounds.
I've seen people end up in the hospital from rebounding after a show, like really bad.
Yeah, wow. Nick Trigilli apparently did it. Nick Trigilli had like a real bad rebound once.
Congestive heart failure if you're not careful.
Yeah, congestive heart failure.
Yeah, it's pretty full on. Like I remember when I did the sushi thing that night, I was checking, like my Apple Watch was like going off the fritz, like it was saying warning, resting heart rate 135 beats per minute. I was like, I looked at it and I was just like short of breath, and I'm just sitting there with this distended stomach, and my parents and my like uncle are just like looking at me, and my uncle's had like 3 heart surgeries, open heart surgeries or whatever, and he's just looking at me thinking, what's going on? Yeah.
You went tachycardic.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's grab one or two more, and then I got to roll. All right. I'm running out of Nutri-Grain bars. I've had like 8 of them on the using that for my carbs while I'm on the podcast. What do we got here? Let's get 1 or 2 more.
It's so funny. The cat's tail came across your screen, and I didn't know what it was. It reminded me of the tentacle in the garbage pit of Star Wars 4.
Oh yeah.
Michael Horner is asking, can growth hormone cause lactic acid buildup in muscles? What is it about increasing growth hormone dose that causes muscle pain?
Sodium retention? What muscle? Sorry, muscle pain? Sodium retention? It's talking about water?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So
muscle
causes the kidneys
pain.
to hold more sodium, so it's increase your potassium. You won't get that pain. Drink more food. That's the answer.
Yeah, I guess that's part of what I was saying about the 10 liters, because I'm on 22 units of GH. That's why I'm drinking 10 liters. Yeah.
No, and also like we should clear something up too. It's not lactic acid is not what causes the burning in muscles. That's lactate.
Yeah.
Lactic acid is the thing from like the 1970s that they didn't understand until they did muscle biopsies. There's no lactic acid.
Well, okay, but also people don't have basic chemistry. So like a lactic acid donates a proton, and what you have left is lactate and a proton. Right. So it's lactic acid is the conjugate acid to lactate plus a hydrogen ion. And people don't understand that the same hydrogen ion will bind and unbind to its substrate, and that, or not substrate, but conjugate base, and that in any concentration, depending on the pH, is how much dissociation there is of the proton from the lactate versus how much there is. Because the blood and the body is at a 7.4, we're in a basic environment, so the acids are all deprotonated. But if you were to put that exact same formula, if you were to lower the pH by adding acid to the body, then the hydrogen ion would probably rebind to the lactate to make lactic acid, which is probably how it was measured in vitro once they washed it in a 7 pH environment. Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Lactic acid is a conjugate visitor.
It's a conjugate visitor.
Yes. So, yeah, like think of lactate as being you, and the proton as being your woman, and then every so often when the pH gets just right, it binds to you.
Do we want to stay on topic for the last question or go off topic? What do you guys
I don't know. It's chemistry we're talking about here.
Let's go off topic.
Let's go off topic.
All right.
Let's roll the dice.
This was like the first question asked. Who's winning the Super or the big game? I don't know if we're allowed to say it. Who's
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift wins. As you can probably tell by my shirt, I'm a big football fan.
Sports ball.
I don't give a shit.
Travis Kelce wins no matter what.
Yeah.
He's going on with Taylor Swift.
I haven't followed the Super Bowl, so I've got no vote.
I would like the 49ers to win, but my gut tells me it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Because Patrick Mahomes is a physical specimen, as we showed last week.
Peak performance.
Peak performance.
That's right.
I got to bring that picture up again.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Just for fun, man. That is the most ridiculous picture ever. Oh my god, man. All I can say is I just chose to put my efforts in the wrong damn sport.
It's like those sleeper streetcars, the ones that are like look dodgy as fuck on the outside, and then they've got this like souped up engine with like NOS, everything hooked up, and they just like smoke everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's winning. Patrick Mahomes, he said something clever about it. Somebody said they thought that somebody was interviewing him, and they said that they thought that he had a six-pack, and he said, "Yeah, I do, under my dad bod," or something like that.
Look at the camera in the background. It's like one of those like old ones from the 70s.
Yes.
I saw that and I was like, "What?"
Well, NFL
they still use those.
NFL films. They still, from what I understand, they still film with regular film for all their archive.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, to give it that kind of old school look. So
yeah,
that's might be what that is.
Hipsters,
kind of cool.
Damn hipsters.
Have you ever seen the video of Patrick Mahomes being compared to Kenny Powers in the way they speak?
Yes,
it's so fucking good. It's so on the money.
They do speak a lot alike. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, if you guys want to be sad, we'll go watch the Ric Flair documentary that's up on Netflix right now. That really depressed me.
Really?
What a sad life that guy had.
Huh. I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, he grew up like with wealthy parents that ignored him, and he was just kind of like chasing fame and approval from his parents his whole life, and he was an alcoholic and just a mess.
Okay.
It was hilarious. So they did ask him how many women he had slept with, and he said that he looked and he said, "It's like thousands. I stopped counting at 1,000 or something like that." Crazy. All right, guys. I guess this is it. We've brought this up to a conclusion. Thank you for watching another episode of Anabolic Bodybuilding Live. We love each and every one.